Today, my wife and I are going to teach you how to achieve your first chin-up with beginner to advanced progressions, talking about strength mechanics that you can use in the development of the chin-up, but also in many other strength exercises as well. We will also go through good progressions to use and some common progressions that aren't so good to use, and we'll explain why. Very nice. Maybe I should have talked a bit longer. By the way, she is using socks on her hands because the bars are extremely hot. To begin, we have to set standards as to what a chin-up is so we know what we want to achieve. There are different grips from supinated to pronated to neutral grip. Typically, a pronated grip is called a pull-up, while a supinated grip is called a chin-up. So we're going to be working with the supinated grip, our palms facing towards us, and we need to set standards for what we're going to achieve. So the beginning and end positions are going to be the same, and this is going to be a straight arm passive hang. This means the elbows are completely straight, the shoulders are relaxed and down, and this is the starting and ending position. Then the middle position, you must touch something at the middle of the position. So it can be the bar to the clavicle, it can be the bar to the chest, it can even be the bar to the lower chest or even abdomen if you're strong enough to do that. But we must make contact so that we're hitting the same range of motion every time. If I just go with my chin over the bar, I can slightly reduce and increase the range of motion every single rep. In this way, it's hard to see if we're hitting progressive overload very clearly. Some may argue, why do we go all the way down to the passive hang? Why do we touch something at the top? Why not keep the elbow bent and increase our time under tension? Why is this not considered also time under tension? Why is this also not a position that we should work on? What about this? Why is the top range not a position we should work on? And these people are more prioritizing this over this. The connection in the body over what something looks like, what a singular piece can look like to the outward public. I want to improve my control of the body and go through different ranges of motion, being able to move through these ranges. So if you want this as well, this is why I think it's better to use these standards of as much range as you possibly can. So let's say you can't do the chin-up with this standard. Not a problem at all. This is the purpose of this video. I'm going to go through many different progressions that you can use from beginner all the way to advanced and eventually achieving your first chin-up. But before I do that, I want to address a very common progression with the band. To understand why I don't think it's that good at creating strength improvements in the chin-up, we need to understand how the band assists us and works, and also the mechanics of the chin-up and the different sticking points in the chin-up. In the chin-up, there are two common sticking points, that being from the straight arm position, transitioning into the bent arm position. That's the first sticking point. The second sticking point is from 90 degrees of elbow flexion up to the top. Now, if we take this in the band, the most amount of assistance the band is going to give us is actually in the passive hang. We don't need assistance hanging straight arm. We should be working this unassisted. So it's helping us the most where we don't need it. Then when we start the pull, it gives us a small slingshot past the sticking point. So it's not allowing us to get those strength improvements in the sticking point where we need it. And then it gets to a point around 90 degrees where it starts to assist us even less where we need it the most. So often we can't even perform a full chin-up because we don't have enough assistance from the band. You could say, okay, I could use a stronger band. If we use a stronger band, it makes the passive active hang even easier, and that slingshot effect is even more prominent, not allowing us to get through the sticking point, the first sticking point. The other thing that you can say is, let's use a lighter resistance band. Well, this would allow us to get a little bit more in the passive active hang and then the first sticking point, but by the time we get to the second sticking point, it won't assist us enough to actually help us get past there. We'll be stuck at a certain point. So in this way, the band is not a good progression to actually get us through. I don't doubt that some people have learned the chin-up with this progression, but I would challenge you that you learned it in spite of this progression because of what we've explained here. Now, I don't think the band is a complete waste of time for many other strength movements or for something in particular. What I really like about this movement is it mimics the pattern of the chin-up. So you're actually doing the motion of the chin-up with an easier resistance. So in this way, it can be a good patterning warm-up, but not for strength improvement because of this. We have way better tools that I'm going to introduce you in this video. So before you write a mean comment, go ahead and watch this full video and see if these might be better strength improvements than the band. Let's throw the band away, and we're going to use different progressions. So we're going to look at the chin-up in detail to understand the different parts of the chin-up, because we can actually work these individually, become strong at each portion, and then combine these portions together to create the full chin-up. We can separate the chin-up into 4 distinct parts. 3 of these parts are straight arm elements, and the 4th part is the bent arm pull. So we're going to start with these first 3 straight arm elements. We have the passive hang at the very bottom, where the elbows are locked, shoulders are relaxed down. The second one, we have the active hang. This is where we still keep the elbows straight, but now we depress the scapula, so we pull the scapula down into depression here. And the third hang is called the archer hang. This is where we have scapular depression, just like the active hang, but now we also have scapular retraction, pulling the scapula together, and a small arch in the body. If you watch people that have just learned the chin-up and it's a new exercise for them, you'll see this very prominently because they need to use this in order to create the strength for the movement. So watch very closely. Passive, active, archer, pull. The last portion is the bend of the elbow. Boom. Passive to passive hang, chest touches at the very top. No kipping, no momentum. So the passive hang. We want to choose a progression here that we can work for at least 30 seconds, and we can work a variety of different positions. For the passive hang, we can grip pronated, supinated, neutral grip. For the amount of duration that we're on the bar, the supinated grip can be a lot of stress on the wrists and this position here. So I actually recommend working the passive hang in isolation with a pronated grip. And allow everything to come down. Shoulder relax, elbow relax, and try to get the shoulder into the ear. If you need to, you can use your feet for assistance on the floor, and we work for at least 30 seconds, working up to 60 seconds, 90 seconds, up to 2 minutes. The goal here is to be able to hang without feet assistance for 2 minutes in one set. And this is not a necessary goal to achieve the chin-up, but the better you get this, the better your pulling becomes, the better your grip becomes. So even if you only get to 60 seconds, you're still getting a lot of benefit here. The second hang is the active hang. So this is where we take our scapula from elevation to depression. We pull the scapula down, we pull the shoulder blades down. So for this one, we also want a 30-second hold. So we can use our feet in the beginning, and we slowly work up to 60 seconds with full scapula depression. Again, the goal is not important. It's important to just get stronger and go along this road as you're developing the chin-up. The better you can get this hang, the better your chin-up will become. And the third and final hang is called the archer hang. This is where we take the scapula from elevation into depression and then also into retraction while leaning the body backwards. This is going to be the most difficult one. So if you don't have a 60-second passive hang and a 60-second active hang, then I don't recommend you working this one now. Instead, work on passive and active hanging. And once you get up to those standards, then come work the archer hang. For the archer hang, we can work for 10 seconds up to 20 seconds, striving for more arch in the body and as much scapular retraction as possible. In the beginning, it might look very little, and as we progress, we can get a little bit more out of this motion. Again, it's not important what you get to, it's important that you're just improving from your current level, and the stronger you get this, the stronger pulling you will be able to achieve. So you can work these 3 straight arm elements individually and working towards those goals of 2 minutes in the passive hang, 60 seconds in the active hang, and 20 seconds with good scapular retraction and a good arch in the body with the archer hang. At the same time, you can also work on the bent arm pulling element. We can start by working a vertical row, then move slowly until we're horizontal and doing horizontal rows, and we can even make it to where our feet are elevated and we're pulling this way. With all of the bent arm pulling actions, we have a concentric, eccentric action. And we want to be doing this in a strength training fashion. So we don't want to just be repping out as fast as we can. We actually want to develop some time under tension, some pauses at some of the weak links in the movement. So these are very important and they travel across the different progressions. So for this vertical row, we want to be starting in a straight arm position with the scapula relaxed, but the torso straight. Then from here, I'm going to retract the scapula back, still keeping the elbows locked. Once I reach full scapular retraction, then I'm going to bend the elbows, keeping the elbows tight to the chest, touching the chest or something of the body to either the straight bar or if you're using a ring to the ring, and then eccentrically loading very slowly, about 3 seconds, back to the straight arm position, and then relaxing the scapula at the bottom. We want to choose a progression that you can do for at least 3 repetitions across many sets, but not so much where it's too easy. If it's too easy, you're doing 8 repetitions, 9 repetitions, we're not getting that strength training effect. So we want to make the exercise more intense for you by making it horizontal, elevating the feet, depending on your level. We want to make sure you're getting full range of motion at whatever you're using, and you're slowly building up. If you don't understand these concepts as to why we're using this rep scheme, this time under tension, I recommend you check out my video on progressive overload. I will link it in the description. It goes over a basic idea there, but you'll understand a little bit deeper as to why I'm using these standards, this tempo, this rep scheme. So when you're getting to 5 repetitions in the previous progression, you can drop the repetition back down to 3 and try to get your body a little bit more horizontal until you're doing 5 repetitions for multiple sets, 3, 4, or 5 sets. The progression with the feet elevated is not necessary for the chin-up. This is often harder than a chin-up in a lot of ways, but for some people, they might need to take it there before they can get a chin-up. But the base goal is the horizontal row, 5 repetitions for multiple sets with the quality shown in this video. After you've built up to 5 reps or more for multiple sets, then we can test out an eccentric to see if you're ready for this. So for the eccentric, we would just want to start at the top of the bar, and we can jump there. We can have a partner help us up or step onto something. And then from the top, we're going to release our legs and try to hold this top position for 1 second. And then from the top all the way back to the passive hang, we want to take 5 to 10 seconds. If you're having a point that speeds up and you fall down, or you're not able to get at least 5 seconds, then go back to the previous progression. Start with single reps for 5 sets, and your goal is going to be to build up those single reps to 2, 3, 4, or even 5 repetitions within 1 set. And these progressions might take some time, so don't worry about hitting a certain goal. Just worry about improving yourself, getting towards 10-second eccentric, being able to control the range. This is what's important, not the chin-up itself. So let's say you're doing 10-second negatives for multiple sets, maybe even multiple reps. If it's nice and controlled from the top to the bottom, some people can move directly from here to the chin-up, but there are a lot that can't. So you can test out a chin-up at this stage. It might be there, it might not. If it's not there, we have another progression for you. It's called the mechanical advantage rep. So this is where we take advantage of the fact that the concentric is usually the harder portion of the movement, and the eccentric is usually the easier portion of the movement. So we will use an easier progression on the concentric and a harder progression on the eccentric. So for this one, we're going to put our feet onto a wall, a platform, a partner. Anything will do as long as we can get good friction on it. And then at the top, we're going to release the feet and perform a full eccentric for 5 to 10 seconds. And we want to do 2 to 3 repetitions in the beginning for multiple sets and build towards 5 reps, 5 sets with good quality throughout. If you're building towards this, you're in the exact right range and you can test out a chin-up and it probably will be there. If not, we have other progressions, but I want to stop at this video because it's been a ton of information that you can use. You can get very strong. This applies to many different people. And if you're working the bent arm element 2 times per week is plenty for this type of work, anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes of the session, including rest time. So it's not a huge time investment. And the straight arm elements can be worked daily throughout the day, hanging from a doorway pull-up bar or some rings that you've hung up or a tree branch or just walking in the park and finding a bar like we have here. Anything will do. The more hanging you can do, the better. Go through passive, active, arching, all of these, and there's many other progressions as well. I want to end this video by talking about why most people cannot teach the chin-up. The simple reason is a lot of us that have the chin-up might have had it for our whole lives. So when we were 7 years old, 10 years old, we could just do it and we didn't have to go through these progressions. Me, myself, I can admit I was terrible at teaching the chin-up because I had it since I was 10 years old. I didn't go through any of these progressions. But my wife, for example, started with 0 chin-up and she went through many of these progressions, and now the chin-up is no longer a strength training exercise for her. It's a warm-up. So you can also go through these various tools and learn to apply them. I believe a teacher should be able to do the thing that they're teaching, but you should also look at their students. Can the students go through their method and also achieve the same results? And oftentimes in this internet world, this second one is not there. If you have any questions on these progressions, if anything's confusing, always let me know. And if I can give a good answer, I will. Thank you for watching. Awala. And that's the session.